Can you full-time RV life with dogs? If you're new to the channel, I full-time RV life in our 22-foot Airstream with my pups Enzo and Lotus, plus one Ralli cat laying over there in the sun. So yes, obviously you can full-time RV life with pups. However, I wouldn't recommend it in most cases. Obviously it's doable, but if it's something you're considering, I encourage you to watch this, and I'm going to be brutally honest in this video, so hopefully it can give you a very clear idea of what you're in for. First, this lifestyle is pretty amazing. Welcome to California. Today we are in the Alabama hills. Welcome to Oklahoma City. Welcome to New Mexico. Welcome back to Views on Views to the Alabama hills. I mean, I don't know how much you can see out the windows right now, but we're in the middle of a national forest. Trees everywhere. It is affecting my solar a little bit and my Starlink, but that's okay. The shade is phenomenal, so we don't need as much energy to run fans and air conditioning and such. Now, when you mix pets into this amazing lifestyle, what you end up with is a much easier No, not even a little bit. So much harder. It is so much harder. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, this is just freaking hard. In fact, I struggle to think of one thing that's easier. I mean, I don't know what it would be. So I'm going to break this into a few sections. First section is going to be travel days. Now, if you're new to this lifestyle, what I mean by travel days is the days that we're not at a campsite like this. Travel days may be a few hours, they may be a couple days. Whatever they are though, they're gonna be harder and longer. I never know what's gonna happen on a travel day. I recently released a video where we broke down and we're basically stranded for 2 days. So anytime we start a travel day, it always starts the same with me making sure they get exercise. Today's first priority is pups. To get the puppa exercise. That's our priority today. And then I have to feed them and then give them time to digest. Your dogs could be different, but if I set their food down and then proceed outside to start, you know, loading the truck and stuff, they're not going to eat. No, they're going to wonder what I'm doing. They're going to be concerned about what I'm doing. So that's not going to work. So I have to strategically plan my morning. If I want to leave by 8 a.m., then honestly, I probably have to get, I mean, it takes me hour and a half to load everything up. I have to give them, you know, at least 45 minutes to an hour of exercise. Plus I have to give them time to eat and time to digest. So, I mean, you're talking 3+ hours easily. Essentially, I have to very strategically plan my travel day mornings. Now, once we're on the road, at least then it's easy. Now, so if you've ever gone on a road trip, one of the time-honored traditions is the road break. Taking a break. You pull over, you get some food, maybe you stop at a restaurant, whatever. They're called breaks because you're taking a break from driving. Okay, yeah, I mean, I still do that, but they're not a break. I don't get much of a break. It's essentially the same thing all over again. You know, first I have to find somewhere safe that I can allow them to get out and potty. We are on Route 66, boys. We are kind of driving through the middle of nowhere, looking for some place to get out. Oh, got the ants? I know. Well, I had to pull over and Google research, look at photographs and everything, but I think it paid off. And then we had to drive all sorts of weird spots, but pretty good size park. Now, to be clear, there are some truck stops, rest stops that have like dog parks. It doesn't do me any good, but it might do you good. You know, I'm reminded of, I think we were in Missouri once where I knew I needed to stop and get gas and give them a break and everything. It took me a little while to find a safe spot. By the time we got off the exit to the time we got back on the exit was over 2 hours. And I didn't even eat. I think I ate like a Cliff Bar. I didn't even eat. And I was going the whole time, so it's not like I was on a break. Needless to say, these are not really breaks. And then the end of the travel day. Now, if the travel day's gone well, we should arrive at our campsite before dark. Really kind of messing with my daylight. I hope we can find it. We got 8 more minutes. Honestly, I have no idea what we're driving into. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know that stuff never goes well. Something always goes wrong. So it is not uncommon for us to have to stay at a Walmart. And while I do everything in my power to never be driving past dark, because it can get, you know, when you're up here in the forest and the mountains and everything else, it is dark. So never a good idea. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if it's dark. It doesn't matter if it's late. It doesn't matter that I'm exhausted, that I haven't eaten, that maybe we broke a hitch outside of an hour outside of LA in the middle of nowhere and I'm stressed and mentally and physically exhausted. None of that matters because I still have to get them out, let them get a little bit of exercise. I mean, we don't have to do like a full hour-long run or anything, but, you know, give them 15, 20, 30 minutes to kind of stretch their legs and be outside and have a moment. Then I gotta feed them, which means I gotta, you know, prep the Airstream. If I was by myself, for example, it'd be so much easier on a day like that where I was all stressed and everything to just basically park in a truck stop.
All right, good morning. It's 6:57 a.m. Slept not too bad, actually.
And crawl into bed, whatever, and just go to sleep. But I can't do that. I have to actually, you know, they can't just maneuver through and get up and crawl. And like, that's not going to work. I have to still do all these steps. All right, so we've established that travel days are bad. Or not bad, but hard. Let's talk about some non-travel days. Comments and messages that I get frequently are well-meaning people suggesting restaurants and cafes and Disneyland and all these cool attractions and museums and fun things to do that I can't do. I can't just leave them here in the forest and go drive an hour and a half into town and go to a Disneyland for all day. Like, that doesn't work. No, you cannot do that. Now, in the rare event that we actually stay at an RV park, which we do 2 to 4 nights a month, usually as like a refresh type of thing. You know, yeah, I will leave them, but that's just so I can run errands and go grocery shop and things like that. Now, don't get me wrong. Where we're at right now and some of the places we've been, the Alabama Hills, Cosmic Campground, Tucson, seeing the iconic cactus, I mean, all these beautiful locations, but I am limited on where I can go and what I can do. And even if I could leave them, which I can't and I won't, always an hour, 2 hours away from anything, if not farther. As a side note to anybody considering this life, national parks, not very dog friendly. Just FYI. Do your own research, but just FYI. Then there's the more simpler things. You know, I watch other YouTubers who do this lifestyle, who do van lifestyle, RV lifestyle. And when they need a little bit of a break, maybe they'll go work at Starbucks that day, or maybe the internet or the cell reception isn't that great, but they really want to stay at this beautiful place, so they'll go work at Starbucks or whatever. I can't do that. Maybe it's too hot, so they'll go work at Starbucks. I can't do that. Like, I can't take the pups and Ralli. Like, that doesn't work. Maybe we'll take a break from the road and just get like an Airbnb for a few days. No. I mean, I'm sure there's Airbnbs out there somewhere maybe that take dogs and cat, but they've got to be few and far between, not to mention just exorbitantly expensive. Speaking of taking breaks, I can't just fly home. Now, I sold most of my possessions. I sold my house. Goodbye, house. And everything, so I don't technically have a home to go back to, but I do have a lot of family that still lives in the Cincinnati area. I can't just hop on a plane and fly back and visit them. It doesn't work that way. You know, I've got a sister who's got a baby due later this fall, so I have to strategically plan, you know, when we'll leave the western coast and start heading back east to get there in time. And then if I want to come back out this way, which I do, I have to turn around and come back. So no matter how cheap flights may get, I can't just hop on a flight and spend a few hours traveling back to see friends or family. Best case, it's a few days or a few weeks. I got one pup that's snoring and one that's being unusually calm. Now, as I've mentioned, having them is tough, and that's when everything's going right. What happens when you inevitably break down? Well, as I already kind of alluded to, that happened to us a few weeks ago when our hitch broke, effectively leaving us stranded about an hour, hour and a half outside of LA. You know, in the midst of trying to run around and find parts stores or somewhere that might be able to help me, I had to keep in mind of how long they had been in the car and stop what I was doing and take them somewhere to give them that potty break, give them food. When I realized that there was no way it was going to happen that day, we were going to have to find somewhere to stay, then I had to stop what I was doing because, again, I could have just pulled into like a truck stop and slept for a few hours and kept on going or whatever. can't do that with them. I need somewhere that's a little bit more stable. I need to be able to take them out and let them have some grass areas and stuff. You know, a truck stop off the highway, not exactly good for that. Yeah, we'll stay at a Walmart occasionally if we have to, but again, they're not like sitting there right off the highway. And then the next morning when I had looked up a couple shops and wanted to go explore, see if I could actually get us back on the road again, I couldn't just get up and go. You know, it was kind of like a travel day because I didn't know what was going to happen. I had to make sure they got some exercise, make sure they got fed, pack everybody up because, you know, who knows where we're going to end up. Instead of waking up and driving 10 minutes to this shop, it was a 2-3 hour ordeal from the time I woke up to getting them all prepped, getting everybody loaded up, and then driving to this shop and everything. It's exhausting. So, have I convinced you that this is probably a bad idea? It is my legitimate hope that this video discourages people from thinking this is a good lifestyle. That being said, I love my life. And I wouldn't change it. And yes, obviously it'd be nice if things were easier, but pretty much anybody could say that about any life. And to me, all those annoyances and problems and struggles are more than made up by the fact that I get to have them in my life. And ultimately, that's what you have to remember, because there's gonna be those times where you're stranded in the middle of nowhere and just feel like you're about to lose your mind and break down, like mentally, but you can't because you've got living things relying on you to keep them safe. So yes, this can be an amazing lifestyle. Just be fully prepared, eyes wide open, realistic expectations. And if Google says ETA of 4 hours, plan on 7. With that said, if you have questions or concerns about this lifestyle that you're maybe thinking about doing with your pup and you want to comment below, obviously you can do that. If you want to reach me directly, Instagram is the best option for that. And as always, everybody who watches the videos, who likes, who shares, and especially my favorite people in the world, the Patreons, I love you all. Good night.